Godzilla 962 here, and we all love kaiju fights, but one that fans like myself want is a fight between Godzilla and Gamera. Two monsters that, although have a lengthy history on their own, they don't have much going on together. So take a trip with me to see the history of Godzilla vs Gamera. These two kaiju were enjoyed by plenty of people, and of course this meant people wanted to see them come together. Japan got a healthy dose of this back in the day. Now though I can't pinpoint the very start of the collaboration between Godzilla and Gamera, I'll try to go from the earliest point I can. The earliest point in which these two came together was one of two things, either merchandise or in the 1970s Expo Festival Plaza. Let's first talk about the most exciting event in this video. This is the Godzilla vs Gamera stage show. This show happened at the 1970s Expo Festival Plaza. For those who don't know, in 1970, the Osaka's World Fair, commonly referred to as Expo 70, was featured in the film Gamera vs Giga, where the final battle of the film took place. But Gamera wasn't the only kaiju to take to the Expo that year, as Godzilla joined him in the stage show I brought up earlier. This show was originally supposed to play 3 times a day, but it was cut down to 1 time a day because of the complexities of the show. There were plenty of kaiju at this event, these being Godzilla, Gamera, Manila, Gorosaurus, Space Gauss, and Giga. Now we only know one suit actor who was in the stage show, this being Haruo Nakajima, who played Godzilla, but I have some ideas as to who played the other kaiju. Keep in mind though that these are just my guesses. Yumi Nasuki Izumi as Gamera, and Masao Fukazawa as Manila. And for the rest it's kind of up in the air. Yeah, I know only 2 guesses, but that's the best I can do right now, because so many actors in the Gamera franchise unfortunately go uncredited. Now this event has gone down as lost media because photos and videos of the event are scarce, and we have very little left, but what we do have is interesting. The only videos we have both feature the King of the Monsters himself with some kaiju. Firstly, we see him with Space Gauss very briefly on stage in a less than 1 second shot, and another one where they are walking together side by side. And what is most likely the most famous clip from this event has Godzilla and Space Gauss walking together with Godzilla doing his victory dance from Invasion of Astro Monster. And the second kaiju Godzilla was seen with was Gorosaurus, where Godzilla throws Gorosaurus down to the ground as kids watch in enjoyment. Now this next info should be taken with a grain of salt, but I want to bring this up just in case. Using a translation app, I translated some papers from this event, but of course the app was not the best, so take it with a grain of salt. The paper talks about how Nakajima played Godzilla, and it tells the story of a person who went to the event with them talking about seeing Godzilla in person, and how the person in the photo got to meet Godzilla behind the scenes. And the next photo goes on to tell some more info, like how Space Gauss was a villain. Now I'm not going to go into great length about these because the translation app was honestly pretty rough to read, but if you want to translate them yourself, go ahead, here's the photos. And the final thing I have to say about the stage show is something that I have no proof of, but did happen, so ironically lost media for a lost show. But anyways, a year or 2 ago, around then, a post was made about how the audio for this event was found. I believe it was a company that held the event had an audio recording of the stage show fully intact, even showing a photo of it. Now trust me, I tried super hard to find this post, but I just couldn't find it for whatever reason. So you'll just have to take my word for it, or try to find it yourself. If you want to know where I found it on Twitter. The Godzilla vs Gamera stage show was, and still is, the biggest moment for these two kaiju coming together. So what came after it? Well, after the stage show, the most that was released was magazines and merchandise. The merchandise has little to talk about, unfortunately. From what I could find, there were cards, books, and magazines. Calling these collabs is a bit cheating because the monsters for the most part didn't fight. It was more so multiple famous properties in one piece of merchandise. Though at the time it must have been fun to buy merchandise with your favorite tokusatsu properties together. This merchandise is small in quantity, and from what I could find, stopped being made around the end of the 70s. But at this time, the final Showa Gamera film was released, that being called Gamera Super Monster. This film was released in 1980, and has a reference to Godzilla in it, being called Dodzilla. You can see a Godzilla knockoff attacking Japan on a poster that Gamera walks past. After this though, the collaborative efforts between Toho, and at the time Gamera owner Dai, slowed down a lot. We wanted to see them come together again though, until 1996 for Hero Festival 96. In this event, many tokusatsu properties came together, and just like the Godzilla vs Gamera stage show before it, not much video exists. But thankfully more info and images have been released for it, which brings us to this. From the creators behind Gajiban years later, the team created puppets for some famous monsters, which included Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Gyarass, King Ghidorah, Mothra Larvae, Godzilla, and Gamera. Apparently it was shown 240 times over 40 days. If I had to guess, it looks like King Ghidorah would have been the main villain, and all the characters would have come together to fight him. I don't know if this happened for the rest of the puppets, but the Gyarass puppet used in the show later had the mold reused for Little in Gajiban. Looking at the main photo, it's really exciting, knowing that Godzilla, Gamera, Ultraman, and Kamen Rider all came together and actually was seen by possibly hundreds of people is really cool. A few years later, after Hero Fest 96, Dai, now being sold to Kadokawa, had an idea that many kaiju fans would have loved. Being titled Godzilla vs Gamera, this film would have been released in 2002, and would feature the two kaiju coming together to finally fight each other and for us all to see who the true victor between these two was. Kadokawa were the ones to come up with the idea, and approached Toho with it. Toho declined it, even though Kadokawa offered to co-produce the film. The fans of the two kaiju did get some movies during this time, with 2002 being the release year of Godzilla vs Mechagodzilla, and a few years later, the release of Gamera the Brave. For Ultraman fans though, they got to see Godzilla and Gamera collide. Well, kind of. In the show Ultraman Max, there's a scene in which two kids are playing at a beach with Godzilla and Gamera figures. But for those who bought the Ultraman Max DVDs, this scene wasn't included. If I had to guess, it was because of copyright. Then, nothing happened. Yeah, Godzilla and Gamera didn't cross paths again for quite a while. Years passed as the two kaiju were put into a state of dormant, with fans having to wait a long while. But when they came together again, it was in an interesting way. Released in 2017, City Shrouded in Shadow is a video game that has many famous properties come together. These being Patalabar, Evangelion, Ultraman, Gamera, and Godzilla. In the game, you can play as someone who is trying to survive as characters from these properties battle and destroy stuff around you. But we are here for Godzilla and Gamera, so what do they do together? Well, sorry to disappoint you, but nothing. Either due to copyright or whatever else, these characters don't come together. None of them do. For example, only Godzilla characters can be shown together. There can be no Godzilla and Gamera on screen together. So, that sucks, yeah. I guess it's cool they are in a game together, but they don't interact. So let's keep moving because something promising is on the horizon. In 2017, Godzilla went into a new genre that none of his films had ever done before, this being anime. There were 3 films, and this gave us a new Godzilla. Well, technically 2. But anyways, this version of Godzilla had a few collaborations for himself, and one of those was with Gamera. And funnily enough, this version of Gamera was also in his first anime. But these two met in a mobile game, Godzilla Battle Line. The two can be collected and used as part of a team, and if someone else is using one of the two, you can have them fight. Now, this isn't as grand as what could have been in the cancelled 2002 film, but at least they are finally together in something that isn't lost, obscure, or even something downright that doesn't let them interact. So what else do we have? Well, honestly, that's it. Yeah, for two kaiju that have so much history and are so beloved by fans, that really is all the history they have together that I can find. Godzilla has had a rich history for himself, whereas Gamera, not so much. Yeah, we got the Netflix anime, but from the looks of it, the show didn't receive that much attention. And the 17-year gap between Gamera projects may happen again, though hopefully not as long. I hope these two kaiju come back together and hopefully in bigger ways. I apologize if I mispronounced any Japanese names. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Gojo962, signing off.